Hello students, today I will discuss on the topic characteristics of company, and this topic is useful for every commerce student. So now let's begin. First point is separate legal entity. The company is incorporated as an independent and separate entity. It is distinct from members who compose it, so it bears its own name, acts under name. It also states that a company cannot be held liable for action of its members and vice versa. It means a company is a separate person from its members, or we can say it is separate from the members who created it. So, every company has its own name and it is distinct from the name of its members. So, it has its own name and acts under name. It also states that a company cannot be held liable for action of its member. It means a company is not guilty for the action of its members, or we can say a member is not guilty, or we can say cannot be held liable for the action of the company, because a member and a company is a separate uh, persons. Okay. Next point is separate property. A company, being a legal person and distinct from members, is capable of owning, enjoying and disposing of property in its own name. It means we know a company is a separate entity from, or a separate person from its members, so it can own the property and can sell the property in its own name and not in the name of the members. Okay, it means that the property of the company will not be considered as the joint property of the members constituting the company, although the assets and capital is contributed by members. It means the even though the property, or we can say the assets and capital is contributed by members, but these are considered as the property of the company and not the property of the members. So a company can sell and purchase the assets and own capital in its own name and not in the name of its members. Okay. Now the next point is perpetual succession. An incorporated company never dies except when it is wound up as per law. It is created by the process of law and can be put to an end by law. It means a company, being an artificial person, never dies naturally. As a natural human being dies naturally, we cannot say that a company will also die naturally. No, a company is artificial person. It is created by law, so it has to be put to an end, or it can be wound up by the process of law. The death or insolvency of a member does not affect the existence of company. If any member dies, or if any member become insolvent, the company's existence is not affected. It means even if the member goes out or comes in, the existence of company will not come to an end. Okay. Now the next point is limited liability. Limited liability means you have to pay as much you have agreed to pay. It means the liability is up to the amount you have agreed to pay. And unlimited liability means you have to pay as much as you owe. It means you have to pay as much as money you have borrowed. Okay, so it is the liability of members which is limited. It means the members are liable up to the amount they have agreed to pay and not more than that. But the company's liability is always unlimited. It means the liability of company is up to the amount they have borrowed, or we can say up to the amount they have made themselves liable. The members are liable only up to the unpaid value of shares. It means the members are not liable more than the unpaid value of shares. Suppose a member purchase 100 shares of a company. Now the member has paid for 80 shares. Okay. Now he has to pay for only 20 shares. So when the company is wound up, the company can ask only for 20 shares and not more than that. Okay. Now the next point is common seal. Common seal is used as a substitute for signature. We know every person has its own signature, but company being an artificial person, can how can the company can do signature? So it has a common seal which acts as a signature for the company. When the Companies Act 2013 was promulgated, it was mandatory. But after the Companies Amendment Act 2015, it was made optional and omitted from Section 9. It means when Companies Act 2013 was enforced, it was mandatory to have every company the common seal. But after the Companies Amendment Act 2015, it was made optional. It means it is not mandatory now to have a common seal. Okay. Next point is transferability of shares. The capital of a company is divided into parts called shares. We know every company, or we can say every members contribute some money to the company. Now that money is the capital for the company. That money when divided, or we can say when that capital is divided into small parts, and that each part is called shares. The shares are said to be movable property and subject to certain conditions, freely transferable, and can be sold or purchased in the share market. It means the shares are freely transferable or can be sold and purchased from in the share market without any terms and or without any restrictions, so that no shareholder is permanently wedded to a company. It means when a person or when a member purchase a certain number of shares of a particular company, he becomes the owner of that company. Now when he sells that shares to shares in the share market, he loses his rights or ownership in that shares. Okay. So we can say the shares are freely transferable when it can be purchased and sold in the share market without any restrictions. Next point is capacity to sue and be sued. A company being a body corporate can sue and be sued in its own name. It means a company is a body corporate which can sue and be sued in its own name. A company can sue for injury done to its reputation by defamation and can be sued for infringement of copyright, negligence, and contempt of court. It means a company can be, we can say, can be sued. It means a company can be taken to the court for any infringement of copyright or any negligence or any disobedience of the court order it has made, so it can be taken to the court. And now we can say a company can also sue to another company if it has done any harm to its any injury to its reputation by defamation. Defamation means false statement. If any false statement is given in the name of company, the company can sue that company, another company, in its own name. Okay. Now the next point is limitation of action. A company cannot go beyond the power stated in the memorandum of association. It means A memorandum of association states the power and fixes the object of company. It means that the company have to work within the scope, or we can say within the boundary, or within the power stated in the memorandum of association. And if any company acts beyond the power stated in the memorandum of association, it will be declared as void, or we can say ultra vires the of memorandum of association. Okay, now the next point is separate management. The ownership and management of company is separate. So we cannot say here that the owner and managers are same in a company. No, the ownership and management of company is separate. The managers only derive profit without taking active part in the day-to-day management of company. The company is managed by the elected representatives called board of directors. It means members only sit and look after the company, and they do not get involved in the day-to-day activities of the company, or they do not take active part in the management of the company. They only take part in the profit and not in the management of the company. The management work is done by the board of directors, who are elected representatives of the members, or we can say elected representative members are the shareholders. Okay, now if you have any query from these points, or if you have any doubt from these points, please do comment in the comment section. Okay, now I will discuss about corporate veil in the next video. Okay, thank you for watching my video. Please do like, share and subscribe.